You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even... There won't be a new dawn if the world ends. There'll just be nothing. Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Better to wash our hands of this whole situation than to take part in it. Ignore that annoying little voice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. Forever. When I said everyone, I meant everyone. That's a pretty large group to just condemn, and last I checked, you're part of everyone too. So if you think about it, walking up to that cabin and slaying her is really in your best interests as well. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came. Oh, would you look at that? You're at the cabin again. Now, I'm not normally one for superstition or astrology, but I have to say, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess. There's always a choice. Let me tell you right now that you're making the wrong one for pretty much everyone who's ever lived, as well as for everyone who ever will. And here we go. As you trudge into the woods, something strange starts to happen. At first, it's little flickers out of the corner of your eyes. Glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the leaves, but as you focus on your surroundings, you start to realize that those flickers weren't just a trick of light. In every direction, there is a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the cabin. An infinite fractal of paths and cabins desperately trying to draw you back to where you need to be. Wait, what's going on? But you're too stubborn for that, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many paths or cabins appear around you, you're just going to do whatever you can to shirk your responsibility because you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world. You've doomed us all, you know that, right? But of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of just how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness. But it's not like any of that time spent lost in the woods really matters, because it isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. What are you talking about? I'm sure those walls have always been there. It makes sense if you think about it. If there weren't any walls in the woods, someone might have gotten lost. Or, heaven forbid, someone other than you might have stumbled onto the princess. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. I don't know. I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience. He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day. If by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever, then yes, I suppose there are plenty of ways you could pull that off. The world really did end last time, didn't it? We should be careful. For all we know, we just got lucky. The world hasn't ended yet. And you are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff those pathetic little voices to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead. You know I can tell when you're lying, right? Please take this seriously. I am begging you. A warning. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. If we're stuck going in there, maybe we should believe her. Maybe she isn't a liar. Ignore him. He's just being difficult for the sake of it. Let's keep an open mind. The cabin interior is wrong. A confusing patchwork of many cabin interiors, all projected across what's almost the same space. But it's all shifted. An inch here, a foot there, such that the seams are never quite visible enough for the place to make any sense. The only furniture of note is a plain table, its legs all the wrong lengths, its material devoid of feature. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. If he wants us to take it, maybe we should just leave it to collect dust, or better yet, grab it and throw it out the window. What good is a knife against a world-ending... No, we're taking the knife. Have you seen this place? We have literally no idea what to expect and no idea what we're dealing with. I've already told you what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a princess. How many times do I have to explain this incredibly simple and straightforward premise? You can't just say that. And when everything here is so wrong. Listen to me. My job is to describe facts as facts and to guide you through your job, which is to slay the princess and through that action, save the entire world. And if you're going to slay her, you cannot let fear creep into your heart. You cannot lose yourself before you even get to her. Oh, ho, ho, ho. You've piqued my interest. What's going to happen if we lose ourselves? Nothing, because you're going to pull yourself. Just ignore the stressful geometry and stay calm. How? Even if we closed our eyes, you're constantly describing it to us. I'm not going to stop doing my job, so you're just going to have to get better at yours. And quickly. Yes, take a deep breath. I'm all for getting under his skin, but we'll miss out on loads of fun if we shrivel up into a ball and go insane the first time we see something weird. What you're seeing here is obviously real. Just accept it and go with the flow. It really isn't hard. Okay, good. Now, whenever you're ready, we're all waiting for you to complete a very... Ooh, we should look at ourselves. Wouldn't that be fun? You won't be looking at yourself because there isn't a mirror. There's the table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. You insisting it isn't there just makes me want to look at it. We shouldn't waste time preening. If he is lying about the mirror, it might be... I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so... So we're all in agreement then. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago. And now it's gone. You know that taking the mirror away from us isn't going to change things, right? We'll find it again, and then we'll see whatever it is that you don't want us to see. You take the blade from the table. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Okay, fine, you took the knife. But you really shouldn't hold it like that. Then how are we supposed to hold it? The other way, thumb at the bottom. Will look much cooler and more serious if we hold it with our thumb at the bottom. It really doesn't matter how you hold the blade, as long as you have it. You switch your grip on the blade. Congratulations. Yes! Isn't this so much better? Okay, fine. You're right. This does look a lot better. It really doesn't matter. Just get on with it and deal with the princess already. Haha! Yes! Do it! Seriously. You throw the blade at the window, glass showering the cabin as your weapon flies out into the night. I suppose you'll just have to deal with the... We'll be fine, don't worry about it. What's the worst that could happen? The world ends. Been there, done that. I'm not so sure. This place is already messing with my head. It would be much better if we had a weapon. What's done is done. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a web of branching staircases all built from unidentifiable materials. Nothing here seems to belong, and the closer you examine your surroundings, the more confused you get, your head throbbing with the effort of making sense of this place. None of the stairs even seem to go anywhere, let alone down. The air here has a sickening, almost sludge-like miasma to it, the kind of indiscernible quality that comes from the blending together of every scent there is at once. An odour that is simultaneously everything and yet the sum of it all coalescing into a thick, nauseating nothing. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice, a disquieting collage of tone and personality dragged.
Hello? Hi. Are you here to kill?
No, thank you. Oh, don't be such a baby. I don't want to do this. Let's just turn around and leave. This feels wrong. This feels like a trap. Like whatever we do, we're gonna die. We don't even have a weapon. But we already tried turning around and leaving, didn't we? And he threw up a wall. No way to go but forward. And whatever choice we make, whatever she is, we know one thing for sure. And what's that? That the fate of the world hinges on your success? There'll still be plenty of ways to ruin his day. You step to the right. The path feels soft and reassuring against your feet. The stairs almost seem to cradle you as you make your way down, like they're guiding your heels from one step directly to the next. You barely have to extend any effort to descend, the stairway doing most of the work for you. You don't feel like there's any concern you might slip or tumble or lose your way. But the further you go, the deeper you sink in. First, it's like a lovely plush carpet, your toes digging down and barely hitting any resistance at all. But soon enough, you're fighting just to keep your knees from sinking out of sight. The softness threatens to swallow you whole, to wrest control of your body and surround you in a false ethereal bliss, pretending to save you from the cruelties of choice and it's slow going, but you manage to fight against the overwhelming urge to fall back into comfort and nothingness, the very struggle to continue forward consuming your every thought. You slowly lose sense of yourself the further you go. Time disappears. Physical sensations dull and then vanish, until the only things consumption and betrayal skepticism and blind devotion, rivalry and submission, terror and longing, pain and unfamiliarity. And at the heart of it all, an emotion that can only be described as...
Are you okay?
What the hell was that? What happened to her? I feel so strange. Like I'm fundamentally different, but also still the same person I was at the top of the stairs. Oh well, that was a trip, but now it's over. Time to get back to our old devilish ways. The princess, eyes bright but otherwise shrouded in darkness, watches you impatiently from the other side of the basement. And why are we here again? In case you weren't listening, I'm afraid I lost myself on the way down. You're here to... He's just being an ass, we remember. Though I'm still not sure if we should trust you. Let's talk to her for a bit, try and get our bearings. She seems... normal.
That's okay. Sometimes I forget where I am too.
The shadows recede, revealing the... She's so warm. It's deception. Don't buy into it.
How strange. So, why are you here?
As the princess speaks again, it's almost as if she fractures. And where there was once just one of her, there is now another. We can do that? I don't like this. It's those cabins all over again. Can we put her back? You said you'd been here before, right? What exactly happened last time? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. But I'm not going to waste any more time prying out details if you're going to be so irritating about it. It seems to me like you saw something you weren't supposed to have seen. If only you'd listened to whatever words of wisdom you were given in that other reality. But what's done is done, isn't it? Whatever you saw last time, unsee it. Whatever thoughts weaseled their way into your head, unthink them. If it's not already too late. You have a job to do here and you need to do it now. Oh, new plan. Let's see if we can make even more of her.
Do you need help? Not that there's much I can do chained up like this, but I'm the only one down here. So if you need anything, I'll do my best. What's that supposed to mean? Are you trying to get under my skin?
She fractures again. I don't like where this is going. Neither do I, which is why you need to slay her now before things get more complicated than they already are. How would we even do that? Where would we start? Could always start by retrieving the blade. The one he made us throw out the window. I wasn't the one who threw it. Oh, come on, you told us to. Don't try to pass the blame now that it's come back to bite. Well, if I'd known we'd be dealing with this, maybe I wouldn't have been so hasty with my suggestions. I don't think we're going to be able to put her back. Kind of hurts to think about it, doesn't it? It's like everything we say just multiplies her. It certainly looks that way, so please, for the love of everything, stop asking her questions and stop stalling. You're obvious...
You can call me Princess, if you'd like. Princess. You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
None of them have names. How astute. I told you she was untrustworthy.
I don't know what happened to you, but you look like you're in one piece now. But I understand. Sometimes I feel like I'm being pulled apart too. It's so terrifying down here. But at least now you're not alone. And I'm not alone either. We're probably stuck down here forever, aren't we? There's no way out, and barely a way in. I don't remember what it was like before I was in this place. Why would I know what happened to you? You're not really cut out for this, are you? Why are you even here? I don't know why I'm here, but there has to be a reason, right? You don't just lock a princess away in a place like this without a reason. I wish I knew what it was. But you know, right? You have to know. You're the only other person I've ever seen, or at least the only one I can remember. Don't give me false hope. Please just end this already. One way or another, just do it.
Oh, don't be coy. We both know why I'm locked away here. I'm a monster, and the second I get out of this place, I'm going to end the entire world.
This is reaching its breaking point. If you don't act now, there will be nothing in here but her. Take a deep breath and focus up. But how do we decide what to do? Can there even be a right choice when all of them are so different? Stop overthinking it. Your drifting thoughts have clearly been part of the reason this situation has gotten out of hand. If you're trying to do the right thing, there's only ever been the one option, and that option is slaying her. Just do something. Do anything. Do all of it, if that's what you want. This place is hell, and it's only getting worse. Wait, that's not right. Go on. You take a step forward. Your foot lands, but it lands different. You experience a firm footfall, a gentle tread. You can feel yourself rupture. The room spins, your perception multiplying in a sickening kaleidoscope as your very self is pulled in incomprehensibly many directions. You find the blade suddenly in your hands. All at once you use it to strike at her bindings as you remain upstairs and slay her and leave her to perish alone. Is this what the end of the world looks like? What an unbearable mess. But this... we can't... Do you not have anything witty to say? I could use a good bit of wit right now. No, I don't, because this isn't fun. How are we supposed to have fun if everything is happening at the same time? It's the same as nothing happening, and nothing is excruciating. Luckily for all of us, nothing and everything doesn't go on forever. The world and the princess falls apart. I think he's gone. We were never going to salvage this, were we?
What happened to us? What are we? There are parts of us that are dead, and others,
they just don't fit. They just don't fit.
we can feel them moving around in spaces they don't belong. It's all so uncomfortable. Did you do this? Did we do this? Can you pull us back apart?
We should help her. Now, surprisingly, since I didn't actually think our actions had consequences. It's a little late for regret, isn't it?
Please.
She's gone. Where did she... And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? There's something dreadful about it. No, don't do that. I'm begging you, don't.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. I am solitary lights in an empty city. I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. These ones are a contradiction, a winding kaleidoscope of paths unwalked. They are stretched into a shape not unlike me, but it is a shape they cannot hold. I am sorry that you met this vessel so early in your journey, but they will make for a rich and vibrant heart. Do not mourn them, for they will finally get to know themselves. You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but... How can the world have ended if we are talking? I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free. I know only that they are. She is part of me, and part of me is her. You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps... More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. Everything, until... You ask of things that cannot be done. How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling. I have not lived. I am not afraid. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished. If you need time, you are as I am now, and forever is a long time to remain undone. I am not you, but I know that I would return before forever was finished. What textures will you weave for yourself to occupy forever? Will you place the images of you and I into a box? If you close that box, will you become another you in another world? An imaginary pattern repeating itself until it can know. You'll always come back to the box, because you'll always want to know what it means to be you. I will be here waiting by your side. You have returned to me. Though you were gone mere moments, I never left your side. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. You're here to slay her. While I appreciate the mental exercise we are running up against nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not and before you decide to waste even more of our time by causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to, unless, of course. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. A warning. Before you... She will lie. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed... Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if... The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
You are? It's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's... Your shouts and pleas are met. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you. The clang of... It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you... Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what...
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward. Wait, this isn't fair. You can watch me.
What are you doing?
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't...
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance. Stop it. Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to... The blade! Move. As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is...
Oh no! I'm so...
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally... Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you...
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her blade work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you, everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin, you're here to slay her. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first... If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it. Our beloved? Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works. We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. It sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek. What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving. Are we running away? What? Seriously? I guess we will. You're joking, right? If we're going to the cabin, there's no world where we do anything other than a warning. But she will. I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice. I do. But I also speak from the heart. Sure, you don't pay their bickering any mind. The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on it. The blade is your implement. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous. But there was a mirror a second, and now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place. You take the blade. I suppose if we're to play the role of dashing knight, we need an equally dashing sword. That way, hopefully it doesn't put her on edge, and hopefully it doesn't get turned on her. There's no use arguing over motivations right now. It's good that you took the blade. You'll need it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight, but it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing. A soft voice carrying.
Hello? Is someone...
Her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last. I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top. Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall. My love, we're here to rescue you from your You know she can't hear you, right? She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my... Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said... And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you. Waiting for you to come back. I didn't want to believe your ravings back in the woods, but this is next to incontrovertible evidence. That's right, villain. And you killed her. Well, she killed her. Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hand. And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this... We damned a whole world. Nothing resets, you're just somewhere else. And you can't keep hopping between worlds forever. Especially not without leaving a trail of incomprehensible devastation behind you.
I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm. What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her... Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with any idea we came up with. Am I the... She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic... No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behaviour and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted. If another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that mattered.
She took that in stride. To a surprising extent. That's because she's perfect. Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do? She doesn't. There's no one else like me. I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him, always trying to...
You died, and now we're talking. I don't know. Was I supposed to have ended the world? Would that have made you happy?
Isn't that just like our darling princess? She wants to make us happy. Are you listening to her? That's a confession. At least you're being honest. I can't believe that the fate of the entire world has been left. The princess shifts in uncomfortable confusion.
Me too. I don't care.
She wasn't confused for long. If she doesn't care, then clearly she didn't end the world. It would take a great desire for evil to do something so inconceivable, and our dearest has not an ounce of cruelty within her. All is well, and it's high time we rest.
I'm sorry. Didn't you want me to?
Did we? We warned her of the cruel force. She made the best decision for her. Don't be... No. I can't let you do that. If you take it... You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? Yes. Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end... You wouldn't. I would. I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings. And doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I can't believe it. But I guess I told you. There's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. Are you sure you want to do this? Just one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade is buried in her back. Is that a threat? You know what we'll do if you try it. You're going to regret this.
What do we do now?
Let me guess. Spoken with the rank cynicism of...
I don't actually know. Nobody's up.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if you're so gullible? Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave.
The princess closes her eye and then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you? I just want to make you happy.
She can't just want to... It makes sense to me. That's all I want for her, so of course she'd want the same for us.
I just want to make you happy.
Is she broken? What's going on is she's lying to you, only she isn't a good liar. You start...
I just want to make you happy.
This isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but this... I fail to see the problem here. She's just sweet on us. You don't have to act...
Okay, if that's what makes you happy.
Is it just me, or does it feel like we're alone right now? Like we're the only ones here? No! She was our perfect... She's gone. Where did she go? Is that a mirror? Why is it here? But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. Yes, I fear that we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here and preen for a while? Okay. She'll be there waiting for...
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean. Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and it feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward. I'm sorry. Words are difficult for me. They never fully weave what I wish to say. The vessels you choose to bring me carry far more meaning than anything words could say in the spaces between. Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now, inaccessible. The only paths of value are those that are yet untread. Why wouldn't I be kind to you? You are the only... This one is a reflecting pool of desire unfulfilled. She will make for a plot. Do not mourn her. She has served her purpose. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. My joy is in seeing what you choose. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets. My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. It is you who guides me down the thin trail of perspective. The vessels are shaped by memories of you, but they are drawn to the edge of the long quiet. To them you are a gate to something more, but they are only thoughts and perspectives. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side. I will long for your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
You're on a path in the woods.